One Piece chapter 971, Boiled Alive. So this was like, I suppose, a necessary chapter. We knew it was coming. We knew how it was going to play out because we, basically found out in Zoe that more or less he was going to be boiled alive because, like, when we heard the flashback of his voice, he was like, I'm Oden. I was born to boil. Which, he didn't say in this chapter. That's because he was still alive at the end of it. So I assume that he's probably going to say that line in the next chapter, which may or may not be the end of the flashback. But also, let's just get into that real quick. So I assume that this is how things are going to play out ultimately, like with the proposition, I guess, that Oden has made here with Orochi and Kaido about, whoever stays alive at the end of the hour is free to go. So him holding up the scabbards here, I assume, means that he's going to hold them up for the entire hour, and then I guess they escape. Now, either Kaido and Orochi actually, stay truthful to their word this time, which is actually possible, I suppose, and we'll get into, their trustworthiness soon, but then I guess the scabbards are let go, and then the reason why Oden isn't there is because I assume Oden dies at the end of the hour, but it's possible that, like, he has, like, a Whitebeard-esque death where he's, like, still standing, still holding them up, but he's just dead, like, because, he's boiled in oil for an hour. And that's another thing, is that the translation that I got says it's oil, and I think that makes sense. I mean, it could be water, but I'm assuming that it's oil because that sounds more vicious and viscous than just boiling in water. And then after the scabbards escape, one way or another, whether, their word was truthful or not, they just escape, because we obviously know that they do, they're still alive. And they go back to Oden's castle, and I assume that they either catch wind or just know that Orochi or Kaido is going to send some people to go take out Momonosuke and Hiyori, because that's ultimately why Toki sends them all into the future, to save them. But also, I mean, it's kind of foreshadowed at the beginning of this chapter when Momonosuke's like, why do people want to kill me? And then Toki's like, well, your father's a great man, and you are the one who will lead this country someday. So that's just foreshadowing that, yeah, they're definitely going to come to try to take him out after Oden is done. And then we're going to see, like, the important sequence of Toki sending them all into the future, and if Toki does, in fact, die, because there's, like, a lot of, kind of speculation around Toki right now, whether she is the traitor or not, or if she is actually Komurasaki in the present day, possibly. I mean, there is some things that could kind of line up with that being true. I'm really on the fence about it at this point, but it's just us seeing her scar, like, on her thigh a couple chapters back, which is, like, really making me wonder, like, did Oda show us that purposely so that we would remember it, or was it just simply to get a reaction out of Oden? It's interesting, but I don't know. We're just ultimately going to find out what happens in that sequence, which I'm very interested in seeing how it does play out, because, that goes into the whole traitor thing in general. Like, after this chapter, it's like, who is the traitor? So, there was a lot of suspects, obviously. Like I just said, Hiyori is a new one, or Toki, I should say, is a new one. Komurasaki, Hiyori, whoever. And then it was, like, Raizo, and then it was Shinobu, then it was Kanjuro. But now we see all of the scabbards were basically going to boil. I mean, I highly doubt that Kaido and Orochi knew that Oden was going to pull up that plank thing and, carry them all. So, like, if he wasn't going to do that, then what was going to happen with the scabbards? Were they just going to jump in and die? Meaning that none of the scabbards are the traitor, possibly? But then also, like, Shinobu is, I think, completely vindicating herself in this chapter. Unless this is, like, some kind of, like, weird red herring from Oda, which, I don't know, just doesn't line up with his past writing. So, considering that it was definitely somebody back 20 years ago, not just somebody that exists present day, I guess it's like Raizo or Toki. And I say Raizo because he's kind of connected the most to everything. It started with Jack tracking him down to Zoe. And then also, I mean, this might be a stretch here, but Raizo kind of resembles Orochi. I mean, they both have, like, the huge heads and the stumpy bodies. So maybe Raizo is, like, a part of the Kurozumi clan? I mean, he is a ninja, so he's good at stealth and all that information stuff. But I don't know. So now let's get into the whole big reveal by Shinobu about, Orochi's big plot and why Oden did what he did. So apparently Orochi doesn't really care about being the Shogun of Wano. He doesn't want to really be the ruler. I mean, he is, but he's more concerned with destroying the country because of what happened to his family in the past. So I like that Orochi is trying to make himself out to be the victim here, which, I mean, I guess he kind of is, but at the same time, he's not vindicated for his actions, obviously, because, like, the Kurozumi clan were just evil scumbags the way that he is. It's like, the thing that he forgets to mention here is the reason why they were killed and hunted down. He kind of just makes it out to be like, oh, just because the other families wanted more power, or because they feared them, or I don't know, there was like no good reason for them to kill them. But there was, obviously, because his grandfather, I guess, or whoever the Kurozumi elder was, whoever was around when Sukiyaki's dad was in charge, they tried to straight up kill him. Like, they tried to poison him. But then, like, they found out, and they were like, okay, well, now you gotta commit harakiri, or seppuku, because, you're a scumbag. And you know what? We're just gonna take out the rest of your family because they're all scumbags, too. Was it right? No. I mean, you probably should have just took out the one dude, but I don't know. Feudal Japan is a crazy. But aside from his motivations for just wanting to cause chaos for the sake of, I guess, avenging himself and the Kurozumi name, we also see, further what happened when Oden finally did encounter Orochi and, the guy had the barrier fruit, is that there was, like, an extra room, and it had all of these hostages and people inside of them. And these apparently were like offerings to Kaido. There was like weapons too. And basically those people were just whatever Kaido wanted to do with them. Like sell them, have fun, in quotation marks, or just kill them. But pretty much once they were brought there, their life was done. And it was just going to be agony regardless of what happened. And then we see Oden initially attacking Kaido, which we weren't privy to before, and a lot of people were like kind of upset about that. But no, it turns out, yeah, Kaido was there and Oden attacked him. Now, a super interesting thing about this panel is that we see Conqueror's Haki lightning coming from this clash between him and Kaido. Now, does this confirm that Kaido has Conqueror's Haki? Because as far as I know, this hasn't been confirmed yet. Now, also, Kaido clashed with Big Mom, and there was, like, kind of like a Conqueror's reaction between the both of them. I mean, obviously, we know that Big Mom has it. But judging from both of these encounters, I'm assuming that, yeah, Kaido likely has Conqueror's Haki. I think it would be a little odd if he didn't, considering that, like, you need to be, like, anyone who gets in the position of Kaido typically has Conqueror's Haki. So, like, if Kid and, like, Daffy have it and Hancock, I think it would just be odd if Kaido, like, didn't have it. Although I guess that would kind of distinguish him as, like, one of the strongest people who just randomly just doesn't have it. But anyway, as most of us expected, or should I say the level-headed individuals among us expected, that Oden sacrificed his dignity and pretty much a rebellion in order to save people. That's what it ultimately came down to. Because the plan, or the deal, I should say, between him, Kaido, and Orochi was that if he dances, every dance will save 100 people from being the tributes or the offerings to Kaido. And I guess they were truthful to it. I mean, it's never really confirmed if they were truthful to it, but considering that Oden kept doing it for 5 years, maybe he knew that they were truthful, or he just assumed that they were keeping their word. But regardless, this goes into Oden's character. Yes, he was very selfish in the beginning, but he's making up for it ultimately by sacrificing himself to save the people that he kind of abandoned in a way. So this is like Oden's final gesture, but also, he is kind of naive. But also, at the same time, we have to remember that things are different in Japan, and Wano, if anything, is based entirely on, like, feudal Japan, or just Japan in general. And as far as I know, like a bonding word means a lot. Like, if somebody tells you that they're going to do something, then you're, like, inclined to believe them. It holds a lot more water than it does in like our society, or Western society, I should say, or as far as I know. So that's just, I don't know, some insight into why Oden was so ready to just believe their word, or just to believe that they're going to do what they said that they were going to do. Yeah, regardless of the culture, it is, you know, kind of naive of him to believe so, but he ultimately was just looking out for the good of the people. He wanted to mitigate as many casualties. possible. And instead of just having to go to all-out war and, you know, possibly sacrificing hundreds or thousands of lives in the process of winning, he decided to go the alternate route and just sacrifice himself. Well, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this chapter. Is Oden vindicated? What do you think is going to happen in the next one? When do you think Act 4 is going to begin? Let me know, and if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the